to move freely around his territory. Well, the Independent People of Biafra, IPOB, has asked the president to stay away from the southeast region. In a statement sent by the group spokesperson, Ima Powerful, IPOB says, and I quote, "We, IPOB members, will die with him should he set his foot on the sacred land of Biafra," end of quote. The president is expected to inaugurate some projects in Ebonyi State on Tuesday. Meanwhile, the Nigerian police has warned IPOB to stand down on his threat against the president, as it will not allow any form of hostilities meted out on the nation's #1 man when visiting the southeast region. Everyone now, to our major story of the day. The day is fast approaching when the people of Anambra State will determine who becomes their governor for another 4-year term. Saturday, the 18th of November 2017, is the governorship election in Anambra State in the southeast region of the country. And yesterday, Channels Television and its partners engaged some of the top contenders in the race in a televised debate. It was watched by millions of people across the globe and relayed in local language in Anambra State. Reactions have continued to trail the programs and interventions of the candidate as he spoke on several issues. Well, how do you rate them? Let's hear some of the soundbite from that debate. This one on the thoughts of some of the candidates on whether or not Anambra State deserves or needs an airport right now.
For the airport, I think that the first thing everybody has to realize is that no state government owns airport. Airport is in the exclusive list of the federal government. Yes. Once the state government builds an airport, you hand it over to the federal government. Now, when I was Minister of Aviation, I got 3 airports from 3 state governments. The airports in Bauchi, in Jigawa, and in Dutse, in Kebbi. The 3 airports came to about 47 billion naira, and they are subject of various investigations for inflation. The governor wants to build an aerotropolis around the airport. So the question is, if we have investors who are ready to put $2 billion, which, by the way, $2 billion means you can buy a farm generating plants, you can buy 6 of it. It means that you can build the 4 terminals with the Chinese loan of Enugu, of Abuja, Kanu, Port Harcourt, and Lagos. It's costing us $500 million to build those 5 new terminals. So if we have $2 billion today, 720 billion naira. 720 billion naira is 5 times Anambra State budget. Please, can we invest it in making Oka and Onitsha livable cities?
The governor has chosen to build an airport. You have to do your comparative analysis. You have to do your cost-benefit analysis, and you have to do your prioritization. Why do we need an airport in Anambra? Equidistance, we have an airport in Asaba, we have an airport in Owerri, we have an airport in Enugu, except for the personal pride. Why would you spend that amount of money when we don't have roads? The 15 billion, even though he says it's 9 billion, spent on the 3 flyovers, could have completed Enugu-Onitsha Expressway from Umunya to Amansi. That wasn't done. This is a government that is visionless. Government must be purposeful. Government must be adaptive to do. You use your resources for what it is supposed to be, not for what you think is.
We need an airport. The type of airport we need is not an airport that will be built with $2 billion. I've never seen in the part of the world where an airport in a non-viable state will be built. Excuse me.
I will allow you
listen to me.
No, so that it's not only one person speaking. So they also need to have the time to speak. Please go ahead.
If I am elected the governor of Anambra State, I'll get the airport working within 2 years. We don't need to use that volume of money.
You have just 30 seconds to respond to this.
The airport in question, Anambra is not putting a kobo, not 1 kobo. Secondly, it is being 3 partners are in the business. Sino-King of China, the Orient Petrol Resources Limited, Anambra State government. And we have 12, listen, my friend. We have 10%, we have 12% in the equity. You know, and it's not only that they're investing in the airport, they're also investing in the refinery at Nsugbe. Why Nsugbe? The only area that the flood will not take from the oil field in Ezagulutu is Nsugbe. So the oil coming there, they will process, and the ATK will go into the airport. So we're building a gas station, not only a simple airport, a cargo airport that you can imagine Lufthansa, British Airways coming to Mweri to take airport. Isn't that a powerful vision?
All right.
They have not seen what I'm saying.
Yes. Well, those are some of the thoughts there. Let's get down to analyzing the debate and the implications for Nigeria's democracy and Anambra governorship election, which comes up this weekend. I have in our Abuja studio Mr. Clement Nwanko. He's the convener of Election Situation Room. He joins me from our Abuja studio. Many thanks, Mr. Nwanko, for your time tonight. First and foremost, what impression does the debate as organized by Channels Television, the Situation Room, EIE, Oracle papers, what do you think that has on Nigerian democracy, the outlook generally?
I think it was very positive seeing the lead candidates come to the debate. In previous years, in recent elections, it's been a challenge getting all of the leading contenders to come to a debate. So I think that seeing 5 of the 37 candidates coming to the debate was very good for democracy. I think it showed that all of the candidates, all of the people running for election are quite concerned about winning the hearts and minds of the people of Anambra State and getting the votes to turn out to vote for them. The substance of the debate, of course, is a different issue, but I thought it was a very boisterous debate. All of the candidates gave their best, and you could see from the eagerness of the candidates to speak that they wanted to convince people to vote for them. That is good for democracy.
If you look at some of the issues raised on the day, a 2-hour debate, you might not be able to have all of the issues on the table. Look at the kind of buzz it generated outside of the debate room across the world. And in fact, it looks so much like an international event of some sort. Generally speaking, what kind of influence do you think this will have on the electoral process come Saturday in Anambra State?
I think for a lot of people who have not had a close-up with the candidates, this was a huge and good opportunity. I've had people respond or make an analysis of the debate and decide that based on what they saw, one or the other of the candidate impressed them better than the other. So in a lot of ways, the people have been able to get a close view of what the candidates are thinking. I don't think there were lots of details into the issues, because when you look at all of the issues confronting Anambra State, particularly erosion and flooding, there was very little conversation about that. The issue of security was discussed, but not in a very deep manner. The airport, I think, was one of the issues that was discussed quite closely by all of the candidates. And you could see one of the candidates, who is the incumbent, speaking very, very animatedly about the potential that the airport holds. But the fact that you have 4 other of the candidates of the other parties come out very strongly against building a major airport with such huge cost means that they were prepared to stake their reputation on their belief that the airport was not a prime need for the people of Anambra State. So I think, of course, some of the issues were not dealt with in a very deep manner because maybe the shortage of time, but also some of the candidates may not even have formulated the details of what they want to do. But clearly, all of the candidates were very anxious to sell themselves, and the people of Anambra State who watched the program and who have seen the reviews get a sense of who the candidates are.
Look at it generally. Anambra State seems to be appraised, not only the candidates, but the state as a whole. A lot of people who are from that state, especially who came on social media, who have been speaking about this matter. From your own perspective right now, how would you judge the people of Anambra State based on the quality of candidates, especially the top ones that came out yesterday to debate?
Well, as you know, Anambra has very, very qualified people. The human resources in that state is enormous, and it is good to see some of the candidates showcasing that. But of course, looking at the candidates, you could see where some of the challenges were with some of them in terms of quality. But overall, I think that the state showcased a good number of very top, highly qualified people, meaning that the options for the people is very, very clear. And I think that the people are able to decide whether they want quality or whether they want less quality. But based on what we saw from the candidates who presented themselves, I think that the options are quite clear for the people to make a decision.
Interesting. Stay with us, Mr. Clement Humwanko. We'll take a breather, but when we come back, the candidates spoke about IPOP, security, the economy. All of these issues come onto the table at the point in time when the president says he wants to visit that region, and what we hear about IPOP threatening that the president should not come, well, we assess security in the Anambra election and some of the issues raised. Don't go anywhere, everyone. Join us again.
Why I want to contest for governor of Anambra State is to block leakages, wastages, whereby over 700 special assistants, special advisors being appointed or who have been appointed by the present administration. Some of them don't have portfolios, most of them don't have portfolios, they don't have offices. But every month, the state government parts away with more than 500 million naira in the name of this issue of payment. The wastages, leakages in government. I'm saying that if I'm elected the governor of Anambra State, that issue of power, I'll pay adequate attention. And what is the key? The key is provide a novel environment, provide electricity, which is power, consumption of mini-grids, and also depending on adaptive power and the one that is dependent.
I have my program which I call SHIP, S-H-A-P, Security, Health, Agriculture, Power, Education, Empowerment, and the Environment. On this platform, we will be able to now, I will now take the best brain in Anambra to get Anambra in that form that we need to use to move forward this state. In terms of security, we will ensure that police and civilians work together so that we get the best out of the security. We will ensure that our youths are employed fully. Then the streets will be secured for everybody to walk around without having to have their purse snatched or having to be gunned down. Also, in my education, or the education of my government, I believe I will work for skill-based education. Skill-based, it's not certificate. We've relied so much on certificate and we are failing. Because I am an industrialist, I've seen that 70% of our graduates are not employable. They are unemployable. It's only about 30%. I'm saying this out of experience.
The Channels 24 app means you'll always be in touch with the news. Get the latest local and international stories on the go. And there's our social media platforms for news from around the world. Watch the news live and play videos that matter to you. You can also check the eyewitness section to report events around you. Just click on the eyewitness icon and follow the instructions to upload your content. Channels 24 app, the news at your fingertips.
Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. Let's check out some of the other issues as treated and spoken about by the candidates there. The essence of the debate is to generate some of these discussions, to challenge some of the candidates on what exactly they have in store for those whom they are seeking their vote. Now, IPOP. One issue in the Southwest region that is very crucial, an issue of security. Now, the president says he wants to visit the Southwest region. The group is threatening that the president should not come. Well, let's take a listen to some of the decisions or some of the thoughts and the approach some of these candidates say they will give to IPOP if they were elected governor of Anambra State. Take a listen.
If I become governor of Anambra, I have to engage these young men and women positively. Most of them don't have jobs. Most of them don't have what they're doing. Most of them are feeling that Igbo men and women are annihilated, are being marginalized grossly. That might be right, that might be wrong. But I believe my people deserve a fair share in the federal government. And Igbo man should not be sidelined anywhere in the world, including this government. If I'm elected the governor of Anambra, I will create jobs. A hungry man is an angry man.
There has been a wave of agitation across Nigeria. In the southwest, in the south-south, southeast, in the northwest, and what have you. What that simply tells you is there's time for sit down and restructure.
Before IPOB, we've had militancy in the Niger Delta. They were never declared terrorists. We have the Fulani headsmen. They were never declared terrorists. And none of them were proscribed. I do not understand how this governor can sit here and young Igbo men who are not employed, who are looking for a source of livelihood, are branded terrorists and proscribed.
We find out that IPOB emanated out of the fact that the youth, the Southeasterners, has been marginalized, particularly with this administration. And nobody will feel good when you deny him his right. What is supposed to, the share of the cake, he has got to say something. But besides that, in the previous administration, the Southeasterners occupied the choice ministerial positions in this state, because in this nation, I like being sincere and point blank. They occupied it. They didn't do much. They didn't offer anything here. Like this federal road we are talking about. They couldn't provide leadership in any way. They couldn't provide any leadership. That is why we're having problems. All of them were there as Minister of Aviation, Minister for Finance, Minister for Petroleum. What did they do with it?
I think that all my co-contestants here have taken ground that the problem of IPOB is a problem of unemployed youths. That is false. The problem of IPOB is a fundamental, structural problem with Nigeria. It has only manifested in a different form. It had manifested in this country under Masob in 2001. And the chairman of Masob was taken to court, charged to court, imprisoned, and was granted bail, and he's still on bail till today. When Masob failed, people have forgotten that Nnamdi Kanu was the London chairman of APGA. The whole idea of APGA was we wanted a party that would represent Igbo interest in fighting for the rights of Igbos in Nigeria. It was the failure of APGA. It was APGA turning into a money-making machine. It was APGA detracting from its function as a political party that would speak for Igbo that led to the new wave of agitation.
Well, you heard them there. Let's get back to Mr. Clement Nwanko there in our Abuja studio. Mr. Nwanko, does it give you a concern, the perspectives of some of these leaders who spoke on the debate podiums yesterday about IPOB, perhaps not the same perspective some people will have, not the same perspective the federal government has, not the same perspective people outside of the country has. There seems to be varying perspective on these issues. And you heard the group come out to say the president should not come to the region. What are your thoughts?
I think it's ridiculous for anybody to ask the president not to visit any part of the country. And I think that IPOB needs to be very careful its rhetorics. The president is entitled to visit Anambra State, visit Ebonyi State, or indeed any other state of the Federation. And I think threatening the president is a very, very wrong move, and IPOB should really be very careful the kind of rhetorics it puts out. Secondly, of course, I think that declaring IPOB a terrorist organization was a wrong move on the part of government. Thirdly, I think that looking at the concerns of Nigerians and looking at the concerns in the states, I think that citizens in every state need to make more demands of their governors. Take more action to ensure that governors respond to their needs. If you look at some of the scandalous conducts of governors across the country, look at even across the border in Imo State, what is going on with that governor in that state. The scandalous activities of some of these governors is really a very sad issue. And I think that IPOB should note that in the elections that was conducted in 2013, only 20% of voters of Anambra State came out to vote. If people are scared away from coming out to vote to the point that you have only 5% even coming out to vote in the elections this weekend, INEC will still declare a result. So I would think that IPOB and its supporters should perhaps explore the possibility of finding who would best be able to respond to the needs. A lot of resources reside in the states. These state governors need to be held more accountable. The State House of Assembly need to become much more assertive in fulfilling their constitutional role of oversighting the executive. And I think that if they do much better that way, the states would be better placed to respond to people's needs. Not taking away, of course, the fact that the issues of marginalization is real, and from the Southeast, it's been a real concern about the marginalization by this particular administration. But again, like one of the candidates pointed out, when the people of the Southeast had the major positions, finance, secretary to the government, and all of these positions that they occupied, the second Niger Bridge was never built. Several other issues of response that the people of the Southeast wanted was not addressed. So perhaps maybe it's not a question of how much you occupy federal positions.
All right. As we close the conversation now, it brings us to preparations for the election and the security issues in this election. You've been working closely with INEC, and you know also what the security agencies are doing. Do you think it's safe, and do you think everything is in top shape for the Anambra governorship election this weekend?
Well, we followed the INEC's preparations, speaking with the resident electoral commissioner, speaking with the chairman of INEC himself. We believe that there are assurances that everything is ready and prepared to deliver on credible elections is correct. But again, we have to see, and they have to walk the talk. The police have given assurances of being able to provide security. We urge them to provide security in a non-partisan manner, not to be used by any of the aspirants to pursue their own agenda of winning an election, not allow any of the candidates, to use them for their own purposes. So there's a lot dependent on the police to ensure that it delivers on non-partisanship, on the security services, whether it is the civil defense or whatever agency of security gets into the field that they perform.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nwanko. Clement Nwanko is Executive Director of Policy Legal Advocacy Center, PLAC, and the convener, Election Situation Room. Many thanks for your thoughts tonight. And that's our show, everyone. Many thanks for being part of it. I'm Sean Okimbalue. Bye for now.
We follow the story because we know that an issue is more than a headline. It shows where it all started and where we might be heading, how it all fits together, and why it all comes apart. We follow the story because the need to know never changes. We don't have all the answers, but keeping our eyes open keeps our minds open. We follow the story because we are part of the story.